good morning, and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Happy Hump Day. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Of course, legal, lawful, constitutional tender, the physical delivery of hard assets. Gold and silver, it is what we do. 800-951-0592 is the number. The website, listen, every day we up the website at allamericangold.com. The metals plan over here. We got the metals plan out there. If you're not a part of that, listen, you want to beat your 401k, join the metals plan. I mean, it's just that simple. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go out to allamericangold.com and read all about it. For as little as $100 a month, you can get started in acquiring, hard assets. And you need them. We all know. I mean, right? Don't we know? Arlene's back, by the way. I know a lot of you have missed her. So Arlene is back from vacation, the Jersey Shore. Every year, she takes 2 weeks. And she goes to New Jersey. And I'm just going to tell everybody, if you've been to New Jersey for 2 weeks, you want to leave. So that's why she's back. She's back in action. Treat her nice. She's got to be retrained. I'm the same way. It doesn't even take 2 weeks. I miss one day. I got to be retrained. So welcome her back as well. Obviously today, Jay Powell's going to talk. The big fan meeting, right? Superman's going to be in the building. And everybody's got an opinion, right? Oh, he's only doing it because Trump's making him. He's doing it because housing's been faltering, or he's doing it because it's the global slowdown. We're okay. But the global slowdown, or, you got the other, he shouldn't do it at all. And really, at the end of the day, and I say this a lot, it doesn't matter, right? It's all for TV. It's like a made-for-TV special. Hey, let's roll these guys out. We'll make them believe that they're really important. They actually know what they're doing, right? And we're all gonna wait. We're gonna hold our breath and see how many words in the statement are they gonna change, right? Are they gonna cut a quarter point? Is the statement gonna be hawkish? Or is it going to be dovish, right? All these things, right? Like the whole fate of our well-being rests upon what they do. If you haven't figured it out yet, the central bank is for wealthy people. And I don't mean you guys out there that think you're wealthy. Okay? It's not who I'm talking about. Right? It's not for you either. You think it's for you, it's not. And when we sit here and we look at where we're at today, I'm going to tell you what's coming. Your money that is in your bank account. And I know a lot of you think, here he goes, he's going to try to scare me again. No. I'm going to tell you what's happening. This report, this one's coming out of Switzerland. And I have warned about this in the past. And, since the Fed is, in my opinion anyway, and I don't know, it's not like Jay Powell called me, they're going to cut rates today, right? And for whatever reason, it really doesn't matter what the reason is. But for whatever reason, that's what I think, even if he doesn't. Right? I know what he's not going to do. He's not going to raise them. Right? We know that. I also know he's not going to continue selling off the balance sheet. Right? We know that. We also know that the federal government decided in their infinite wisdom, let's spend even more money. So, think about that. Hey, Jay, we want you to cut rates, And we're going to add another $800 billion to the debt this year, next year, right? And the next 6 months, $814 billion. They already know. Hey, we're going to borrow another $814 billion bucks. Don't worry. It's fine, though, Jay. Jay, it's good. We're good. And we watch all of these things play out, but what is happening in other parts of the world, right, are important, right? And remember, like a lot of people, the global slowdown thing. I'm going to tell you in the next segment what is going to be coming here soon. And it has to do with the money that's in your bank accounts. And you know what? Eventually, right? Will it roll into the money market accounts and the 401k accounts and all these other IRA accounts and all that? I don't know yet, but I can guarantee you, this is going to be happening to all of us. And I've warned all the time, right? They've got us trapped, right? They have us trapped. Cash is evil. They are slowly getting rid of it. It's all going digital. We're getting ready for some form of an electronic currency in the future. And all of a sudden now, the new normal, I guess, right? I mean, what's going to be the new normal rate? 0? Maybe less than that? When we return, it's not what's in your wallet. No. It's what's not going to be in your bank account soon. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Again, interest rates. Why do they lower them? Do you know why? Because they want to get people to borrow, right? Others will say to spend. And when you think about interest rates being at 0 for, 10 years and then 9 years, and then they started raising them, we got to what? Between 2.25% and 2.5%. And maybe a handful of banks right now are paying a little bit of interest, right? But that's quickly going away. And everybody's talking about, okay, where are we going to go? Right, we have negative interest rates all over the world. The last time, so when we went to 0, remember I was warning you then, hey, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think the banks are going to start charging you for your deposits? Now, and think about this, too. Most of the companies now that you work for, there's only one way for you to get paid. Direct deposit, right? If you don't have direct deposit, you're not working here anymore, right? Used to be back when I was a kid, and I worked at the drugstore, we used to get paid every week, right? Well, that's gone too. No one gets paid every I shouldn't say no one, but most people, like every 2 weeks, once a month. And the liquor guy, I don't know why he was always the guy that was in charge of getting the armored car delivery, which kind of seems weird, right? Wait, the liquor guy's going to get the armored car delivery? That's how our checks would come, and he'd get on the PA. The Eagle has landed, right? So we all knew, hey, our paychecks were in. Come get them, because, you had to go cash them. Well, now they got to be in the bank. This just hit this morning. For years, European banks were leery of passing on the ECB's negative deposit rate. Okay, so right now, the ECB is at about a negative 0.4, right? And we know, right? They want to. They're looking at a rate cut in September, so that number is going to go even lower. They didn't want to pass them on to their clients, right? And their clients are the depositors, for fear that the deposits would leave, right? Deposit flight. Hey, wait a minute. We don't want to be, if we do it, but this other bank doesn't do it, right? They're going to take their money. And listen, I'll be honest with you. Do they really care a whole lot about the little guys? No, because they know you guys are stuck. They're probably talking more about the real rich guys. But nonetheless, and other unintended consequences. In the process, being forced to eat the difference, impacting their interest income. In other words, the negative deposit rate, the negative Fed's funds rate, eats into their profits. That makes sense. That's easy to understand. However, 5 years later, and with the ECB set to launch even more negative rates, right? We're not there yet. But let me ask you, okay, I want you to think about this, right? We're slowing, but hey, we're doing better, right? That's the word. Hey, the world is slowing, but we're still doing okay. Right? Even if we believe that everybody in America bought an RV last quarter, right? GDP year over year was down 50%. Right? From 4.2 to 2.1. But still, right? That's better than what's going on in Europe. For how long? A year? Right? I mean, is it next year? Hey, maybe we get lucky. Maybe it's the year after. Right? You know what? Let's go crazy. Hey, you know what, Double? We're not going to go into recession for 3 years or 4. Right? But you all know, right? It's coming. Now, sooner rather than later, right? Are we not going to go into recession for 20 years? No. So just think about when I'm talking about Europe, know that we only got to 2.25 to 2.5 before we called it quits, right? And now we're what? Cutting again. And I think we'll probably, it'll be slow at first, right? We'll cut today, I think. We may cut one more time this year, and I think that'll probably happen, right? We'll probably get 2 rate cuts this year, at least 2 more rate cuts next year, and maybe more. It'll depend, right? But we're going this direction. So this morning, one bank has finally taken a stand. And let me tell you right now, they're all going to follow suit, because this isn't Billy Bob's bank. That's not who we're talking about. According to the Financial Times, UBS, the biggest bank in Switzerland, plans to charge negative interest rates on clients for those that the deposits more than 2 million, Swiss francs, into their bank. Several smaller banks in Switzerland, there you go, and the Eurozone are already passing it on or are making announcements to pass it on. Negative official, by the way, the cost of the negative rates for corporate depositors. Most large players have refrained from doing so with individual clients. So some of these banks said, hey, we'll do it to the big companies, right? But we'll leave the people alone. That's gone. Nope. The ECB is expected to lower the interest rates, and now, according to UBS, they're going to pass along the negative 0.75% a year on individual cash balances, and they're starting with, hey, $2 million. So if you're less than that, you're okay for now, right? And that's how it works. Think about it this way. hey, let's start with charging big corporation. And then they're like, hey, wait a minute, right? You know, they got a guy that does math at the bank. You know, believe it or not, they got a guy. I mean, he counts the beans, if you will. And every time they announce quarterly earnings and their stocks get bashed, right, the board says, what's going on out there? And they say, hey, get the bean counter in here. Right? And the bean counter comes in there and they're like, what's going on with our net interest number? And the bean counter says, well, you know, we get charged by the European Central Bank for the negative deposit rates, and you know, we've hit the corporate guys, and it's just not enough. So then they decided, well, hey, let's hit the rich guys now, right? Guess what's going to happen? Eventually they're going to say, hey, you know what? All right, who are we kidding? Everybody takes a bite. You're going to, instead of getting a toaster when you make your deposits, you're now going to get hit. And it looks like, according to what I'm reading here, that they're going to follow the ECB as low as they go. They're expecting in September that the new rate will be negative 0.75%. And UBS says that they're going to start charging their high-level depositors. The Financial Times underscores how banks in Europe and the U.S. are scrambling to prepare for a protracted spell of lower rates that threatens their profitability. Having previously wagered that the central bank would tighten monetary policy. Right? And, of course, guess what? They didn't. Right? Monetary policy is getting ready to go lower. So UBS says they forecast that the lower rate of deposits would jump to negative 1% before the end of the year. Now, I don't know if that's what are they going to pass the whole thing on to the customers? I don't know. Right now, it's only negative 0.4. UBS says we're going to start charging 0.75%. You know, think about like your 401k, right? I mean, they're whacking you, what, 2% at least, right? That's a real good plan. Some are more. How about now you put your money in the bank and they start hitting you 1%. It starts out, right? Well, 0.75%, then it's 1%, then it's 2%. And you start thinking about, right, everybody out there. And again, I keep going back to it. Why do you think all these central banks are buying gold? A year ago, everyone thought interest rates would be going up. Now it doesn't look that way, according to a senior wealth manager with UBS. We assume that this period of low interest rates will last even longer, and that the banks will continue to have to pay negative interest rates on customer deposits at the central bank. I see right now, well, you know, our central bank does what? They pay our banks for these deposits, right? They pay them, but in Europe, right, because the rates are now negative, the same thing will happen here, right? If we know we're probably most likely going, what, back to zero. We'll use a bunch of tools in the toolkit, right? Who knows what they'll be, but don't worry, they're tools. And to try to avoid having to go negative, but eventually, you know, listen, the debt is what it is. How do you think we're going to pay for it? Listen, they're not ready yet. The electronic currency thing, it's not ready yet. Still got some work to do. The problem is, right, the debt is skyrocketing now. Right? The Treasury Department just yesterday announced what? Hey, 6 months, $814 billion. Right? We know how to do math. Okay, I know how to times by 2. You know, right? That's 1.6 trillion. Right? What happened to trillion? We passed trillion a long time ago. And I told you all this. I warned you. I would not be surprised if by this time next year, I'm using the $2 trillion number. But here's the problem. In a couple more years, I'll be using $3 trillion. And we've already got, we're almost to $23 trillion right now. So it only makes sense to me. Of course we'll go negative, right? Because hey, we can't pay all that interest. We don't got any money. Right? Think about it. And how would the banks be able to do it? And there's only one way. Well, somebody's got to pay for it. What, do you think UBS is just going to keep paying for negative interest rates out of the kindness of their hearts? Right? Jamie Dimon's going to come out on TV, and he's going to tell all of the American public, you know what? I'm going to pay for it. Come on. Right? Jamie wants his bonus, baby. The time is coming, and it's coming like a freight train. Yes. Pretty soon, you'll be getting charged to put your money in the bank.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily look at the significant issues of our time from an experienced conservative perspective. Sponsored by Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, this broadcast continues the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly and stands against forces that mock traditional values, slander America, and redefine the family. Now, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
Senator Elizabeth Warren hasn't been doing so well in her bid for the Democrat nomination for president. In a crowded field of candidates, she knows she needs to do something to set herself apart from the pack. Warren's attempts to boost her presidential candidacy come in the form of an unprecedented new tax. Her campaign calls it the ultra-millionaire tax. It would force wealthy households to hand over 2% of their net worth above $50 million, plus an extra 1% on their assets above $1 billion. Consider how Warren's tax would affect a billionaire with money in buildings like Trump Tower. The government would basically confiscate 2 floors per year. After just a few years of this system, the government would own most of the building. That's the socialists' endgame. They want the government to own everything. Elizabeth Warren can't even come up with a good idea for what to do with the money. Rather than developing infrastructure or paying down the national debt, she wants to spend the extra money on universal child care in government daycare centers. That shows just how out of touch Elizabeth Warren really is. Most parents prefer to care for their own children at home. They don't want to ship them off to government facilities. No matter what she says, Elizabeth Warren doesn't care about your kids as much as you do. The last thing America needs is more government control over our children. It shouldn't surprise you that revenue from a wealth tax would fall far short of projections. That always happens when Democrats say taxing the rich will solve all of our problems. Tax hikes result in lower economic growth. That means less tax receipts for the government and less tax revenue in the long run. It really is true. A rising tide lifts all boats. If we leave the economy alone with fewer taxes and less regulations, there'll be more prosperity, and not just for the rich. It will create more opportunities for the poor to rise up and succeed and make their way in the world. That's why we need to do our part, to call out ridiculous proposals like Elizabeth Warren's ultra-millionaire tax.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. For the U.S. economy to flourish, free enterprise needs to be rewarded. Competition and capitalism need to be encouraged. At phyllisschlafly.com, you'll find alerts and strategies for strengthening our economy and standing against socialism. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again next time for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. The big news of the day, UBS announcing they are going to start charging all of their corporate clients and all of their quote-unquote wealthy clients that have money in the bank a negative 0.75% on their deposits. Just learned Credit Suisse, UBS's largest competitor. Hey, guess what? Yeah, we're going to be doing the same thing. So they haven't officially. I think Credit Suisse's comment was, Yes, we are also thinking about depositing or about implementing a negative deposit rate on our clients as well. So just get ready. And I think about as this stuff comes out. Yesterday, it took us a couple of times, but we played you the clip from Steve Leisman, right? For Steve Leisman, I don't even know how long the guy's been on TV. Long time, okay? He's been on CNBC pretty much forever. He is the quote-unquote, and every guy's got their role, right? This guy is the diversified, like Kramer. He's the I help you make money and be diversified guy. You got another guy, hey, I'm the bond guy, and another guy, hey, I'm the stock guy. Leisman's job is I'm the Federal Reserve guy. And he said on a Monday afternoon that the central bank is cutting rates for one reason. And it wasn't any of the reasons that people talked about. It wasn't trade or slowdown or this or that or housing. He said they're doing it because they're worried that if they're wrong, that they're going to go away. Right? Not they're going to fire Jay Powell. That the central bank is going to go away. Now, this guy just doesn't willy-nilly and say things, right? He's the Fed guy. He talks to all the big bankers. That's his job. My thought is that here's what he's hearing. All of the real high-up bankers already know what's coming. Like I said, we're guessing, right? We're guessing, hey, it's going to be an electronic type currency. Right? We're done here, right? Let's use a line from the president. This is the greatest economy America's ever had. We just said we got to borrow $814 billion in the next 6 months. And you start to understand. Right? This is what we've been worried about all along. I think back to when my uncle was doing shows in the 90s. This is what he was talking about. And we all knew what? We all knew it would be a debt thing. And we all know, listen, we all got to step up. We're all going to get a nice bite of the sandwich. You know the sandwich I'm talking about. And I think the announcement today from UBS and now Credit Suisse is exactly that. Hey, listen, guys, we're not going to pay for it. Right? Hey, we run a bank. Our job, we need to stay in business. By the way, have you seen trading revenues? They're gone. Every major bank is reporting nobody is buying stocks. Now, the buybacks, that's it. Apple had earnings this morning. Well, I guess it was yesterday after the bell. They were okay. Let me tell you, they were not great. Apple stock went up 4% on the news. And the funny thing was the news was, hey, we're just going to keep buying back our stock. Apple, in their latest earnings, the amount of money they made the same amount of money 4 years ago. The stock has been on a rocket ship during this time. And all of it is, it's all just buybacks. Right? They just keep buying back their stock. They're actually no more profitable. And remember what I told you about how they made that adjustment to GDP where they said, hey, by the way, corporations are no more profitable today than they were 5 years ago. Yet the stock market's up like 10,000 points. Well, that's why. We did get some economic data out today. It's payrolls. So, today, tomorrow, Friday, it's payrolls. This was the ADP/Moody's Analytics number. 156,000 jobs, according to ADP, were created. So, again, job hiring is still there, but it's slowing. That was Mark Zandi. Job growth is healthy, but steadily slowing. And that was really in line. The numbers were between 150 and 165, came in at 156,000. By the way, one of the interesting things in the number, small business, which really, when you think about America, right, that's most of the businesses. Like me, I'm a small business guy. Only added 11,000, so it was the worst showing for small business. And small business, it's been on the decline pretty much now for like the last, 7, 8, 9 months now. It wasn't negative, but down to 11,000. All the other jobs pretty much added by the bigger companies out there. We'll see about Friday. Not anticipating any big surprise on Friday with the government's number. But again, we had Chicago PMI. That came out as well. It's a survey, so I don't, I don't love surveys. It was a horrible number, but it's a survey. A matter of fact, it was negative. The whole thing was negative, was down to 44, and anything below 50 is negative. So it was really negative. 44.4. The worst reading for Chicago PMI since 2015. 4 out of the 5 components were in negative territory. The only one was supplier delivery, which was at 50, which means, hey, we're not growing, just not negative yet. All the other ones, like wages, employment, back orders, new orders, all of those were negative. 44.4, the worst showing since 2015 in the Chicago PMI. But again, it's a survey thing, so I'm not too excited about it. But the news of the day, your bank deposits, apparently, they're next. In the 401k, in the IRA. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. We're all awaiting the Federal Reserve. That's going to be here, in less than, 2 hours or so, a little over 2.5 hours from now. I think the big thing is going to be, I guess everyone's pretty confident, the rate cut's going to be. I think it's going to be about the language and then the press conference that Jay Powell gives afterwards to see if more rate hikes are coming. And again, the second things get bad, they've already all said it. Oh, if it gets bad, we're going to cut. I just don't know what bad is. Right? We've got the mix, right? If you look at the Chicago PMI, things are horrible. You look at jobs, you're like, yeah, okay, they're not bad. They're not great. It's not like we're creating, 250, 300,000, but, 150, we'll take it. The unemployment rate, again, of course, that's, if you don't want to count everybody, it's easy to have a real low unemployment rate. And so, GDP, even with we know that didn't happen right now. Everybody didn't go out and buy an RV, but even still, it's okay. Of course, really, is it okay? Was 2% GDP good? That was never considered good, right? That was considered mediocre. The goal used to be, this is how things have changed, right? GDP, the goal used to be 3%, right? That's gone now, right? Now, I guess, I don't know what the goal is. 2? 1? I don't know. And so it makes it hard, and now we're starting to see a lot of these banks now, and I think this is happening everywhere. I don't know if you've seen the pound, gold flying in pounds now. Boris Johnson's now in charge. Brexit's definitely going to happen. Everybody's devaluing their currencies, and really throw us in there. right? Because we were raising rates and we were selling off the balance sheet. I mean, that's where we were in 2018. I mean, a year ago today, we were raising rates and selling off the balance sheet. Remember, right? They just created $4 trillion out of thin air. But said, don't worry, in the good times, we're going to give it all back. Well, we got down to about $3.8 trillion. That's over, right? No more selling off the balance sheet. No more hiking interest rates, right? By and large, everyone thinks now what? We're going to be cutting interest rates, right? So like everybody else in the rest of the world, we are entering the next phase of what? They call it stimulus. It's really robbing you of your wealth. I mean, that's the phase, right? Why did gold break out this year? Why did it break out? I mean, have you thought about it? Why did it break out? And the answer really is because, guess what? This time, it's real now. Right? It's real. Everybody, Japan's going lower, Europe's going lower, China's going lower, England's going lower, right? Australia's going lower, right? South Korea's going lower. They're all going lower. Canada's going lower. The United States, we're all going lower. And now the banks are going to act accordingly, which is, hey, guess what? If we're going to go lower, someone needs to pay for it. And again, do you really think Jamie Dimon's going to come out on TV and say, you know what, I'm going to pay for it? Of course, you got to remember, these banks are massive. They can't eat it. Right? They've got trillions of dollars worth of deposits. They got to get it from somebody. There's only one place to go. Listen, there's only two places where we have wealth anymore. Whatever's in your bank account, and for a lot of people, right, we already, we know the story. For a lot of people, there's not even $400 in there. Right? Your bank account and your retirement account. That's it. See, they don't have to ask your permission. They don't need to have Congress come and vote about whether or not they can start charging you for your bank deposit. They can just do it. What are you going to do? Stop banking? Well, guess what? Go tell your employer. See how that works. Right? Call them up. Hey, Honeywell. Hey, this direct deposit thing, it's not working for me. Just give me one of those paper checks. See how that gets you. 800-951-0592. The Dow just went back to negative again. Gold just started to go negative, right? Gold's down. Gold's been pretty flat. Actually, it was up early this morning, but gold, silver, the Dow, everything was pretty flat. As we get a little closer to the meeting, some people are hedging their bets a little bit. I'll take a little profit. I don't know what's going to happen. I've got those $20 Saints from yesterday at $14.95 at 800-951-0592. $20 Saints at $14.95, and then we'll wait. Obviously, the move will come when the announcement hits. You're going to get the first reaction, which is usually the head fake, right? If it goes down, it's probably going to come back. If it goes up, probably go down. But then the bigger reaction, I think, will be when the press conference starts and Jay Powell starts talking. So anything could happen here. I don't think we're going to get surprised. I know a lot of people out there, I don't think we're going to get. I think he's going to cut, and I think they're going to be dovish. Because, really, there's nothing else to be done here. What, you think we're going to pay for this debt? Right, here's the problem. Right? Hey, even 2% is too much. 1%, it's too much. Hey, how about you pay us? Hey, that sounds a lot better. Sign me up for that. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. U.S. $20 gold pieces, $1,495. Right now, gold's at $1,425. Silver's at $1,636. The Dow is, at 0.54. Yeah, not up a dollar, not down, but up 0.54. The Nasdaq's up 1 point. The S&P's up 1. The Nasdaq's up 13. Crude oil is up 31 cents on a crude oil drawdown. We'll see. That's funny. Crude oil's hung in there. I'll give it that at $58.34. And again, obviously, everybody waiting for what the Federal Reserve is going to do today. And again, it doesn't matter. Right? We know where it's headed. Right? We know debts are blowing up. Right? We know, how long for these pension plans, right? Then I don't think they have 5 years. I don't even know if they got 3. Right? That's $6 trillion. The government already admits, hey, we're going to spend at least $13 trillion more in debt in 10 years. That's what they're admitting, right? And I'm telling you, you might as well take that number and pretty much double it. You can't pay. Heck, we can't pay $23 trillion. Can't pay 33 or 43 or 53. Negative sounds right to me. It does. Look at it like a tax. This is the debt tax. We're just going to start charging you for your deposit. UBS and Credit Suisse say 0.75%, but it could be 1% before the end of the year. And here's the thing, how low do you got to go? At what point? I don't even know how this all would work. Think about it. This is what you're depending your whole life savings on? Negative interest rates? You know how ridiculous that is, right? Anybody who would look at this with a rational mind would be like, dude, get out. You need to pay them for them to borrow your money? Yeah, that's not fiscal stability. You think about risk. That's what we're talking about. The fact that, when you look at this economic data that we have, just look at it and forget about, okay, this is seasonally adjusted, this number's bull and that number's bull. The numbers are what they report. If they truly are what they report, should the Fed cuts rate today? No. No, they shouldn't. Are they going to? Yes. Why? Well, because I think part of it is because they know, hey, listen, we got some sand in all these numbers. But the biggest reason to do it is debt. How are we going to pay for it all? Right? We've already got, I don't even know what the number is now. I think we're approaching now $14 trillion of debt in the world is under negative rates. Before we get the new currency, won't we have to be a lot closer to 100%? It's all right. It's just the old debt tax coming to a bank account near you. Patriot Radio News Hour. Tomorrow, we'll talk about what Jay Powell said and probably what he didn't say. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless everybody.